How's it going, chicks and mates? This is Mrjacharles and we're back. And the maintenance guy fixed the fence, so there's nothing to worry about there. Okay, and there's some poo there. And these people are eating the food the frog people allow them to eat. And, you know, it doesn't look like many people go to that gift shop. Maybe I put it in the wrong place. Oh, what do I know? Anyway, I said I wanted to do some role-playing here. You know what? I'm going to try it. For the remainder of this episode, it said till January, so I've got October, November, and December. I'm going to try make some kind of like weird story involving an adventure with Zebra Man. Zebra Man and Zebra Woman. Oh, this is going to be terrible. Okay, here we go. So it was a dark night, and like there were like gangsters doing like crimes and stuff, and like little kids were in their beds shivering because, you know, there were drug dealers outside. People were dealing the animal poo. And Zebra Man was watching the city when all of a sudden he spotted like Cotton Eye Joe trying to rob a bank. Cotton Eye Joe with his paws that can somehow hold guns. And he was like standing on two of them. So somehow this tiger evolved to the stage where other tigers were just really scared of him. Because tigers aren't meant to stand. Unless you're in like a Frosties advert. So anyway, Cotton Eye Joe was there, and then all of a sudden, like, Zebra Man turned green and came to save the day. Yes, Zebra Man. Oh crap, there's actually a crime going on. And of course, Zebra Man died. Okay, let's try that again. So, Zebra Man, like, came... Not Zebra Woman, Zebra Man. Zebra Man came and found Cotton Eye Joe. But little did Zebra Man know, he had teamed up with Mrs. Bitch. Go, Mrs. Bitch. Were they actually getting along? They're fusing. Oh. So, Cotton Eye Joe will kill a zebra without a second thought. But you can't hurt a woman. And of course, Mrs. Bitch is as moody as ever. But anyway, Mrs. Bitch, she like vomited out frogs, and like Cotton Eye Joe, he shot his guns. But little did they know, Zebra Woman is an attention-seeking whore. But Zebra Man, he had the power to fly, so he flew around the room like a crazy zebra. I mean, sure, he scared like a lot of the bank staff being crazy with his zebra like derps, but he dodged them. And then he attacked, like, Cotton Eye Joe. Mrs. Bitch was ready to, like, throw another frog. But then, all of a sudden, like, Zebra Woman came along. Yes, I actually selected Zebra Woman. I thought I was going to select Zebra Man then. But then Zebra Woman came along. And then she friggin' used her superpower of... drinking water, and then drank all the liquid from the frogs, so they all rasped up and died. And then, like, the police came along, the frog police, because frogs in this game, and then arrested Cotton Eye Joe and Mrs. Bitch. And that's how they've ended up in Arkham Asylum. What a story. Of course, I'm yet to actually tell the story of Mr. Clouded Leopard and Rudolph. I mean, we know Rudolph killed, like, those 6 poor elves. I'm not sure what Mr. Clouded Leopard really did. I mean, I know he did fraud, but I don't know why he chose Clouded Leopard 1. Could have chosen Eminem. I mean, he's pretty famous. I mean, my account already did that, and yet he's not a fraudster. He's not in Arkham Asylum. Oh, Zebra Man. It's just another day, isn't it? Another day kissing your own feet. I know you're drinking water, but it does look like you're kissing your own feet. What are you thinking, Zebra Man? What do these people think of you? Do they think of you as a hero or a vigilante? Should I actually like try and make another story? I don't know whether my story right now is good or not, but I'm sure when I watch this, I'm either going to be like, oh yeah, I need to do more of those, or I'll be like, why? Okay, I'm going to try and make the backstory of Mr. Clouded Leopard. So, Mr. Clouded Leopard, before he was a leopard, was an electrician. Yes, do not be fooled. He may look like a clouded leopard, but you see, he was the master of disguise. Mr. Clouded Leopard 1 had a dream to become the greatest master of disguise the world had ever known, even better than Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town. So, like, he tried impersonating, like, friggin' Markiplier and PewDiePie and Kanye West. But you know what? It wasn't working because, you know, it had all been done before. I mean, when you were young, when you were like 10, didn't you try to be Kanye West? I mean, with all he does, like, who wouldn't want to be Kanye West? So, Mr. Clouded Leopard, you know, he was quite ignored by the frog people. But one day, Mr. Clouded Leopard went to the zoo, and he discovered a leopard called Clouded Leopard number 1. And he thought, if he could be that leopard, if he could be the perfect impression of that leopard, and teleport inside and outside his small concrete shelter like that, then he would... What? Oh, right, our zookeeper's interrupting the story. Zookeeper, what's up with that? Oh. Well, Zookeeper, just learn how to swim. Freaking... I made an island for this guy. He wasn't meant to go on it. There. Now swim away. Well, that Mrs. Bitch finds the best places to poo, doesn't she? Yes, okay, you're free now. Let me tell my story. Anyway, Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1. He got, like, the perfect disguise. He got, like, a tail. He got, like, claws. He got, like, friggin', like, a paint job. Oh, my God, Rudolph! Why does no one want to hear the story of Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1? Rudolph. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Rhino. You know, no, I thought I fired one. I didn't. They're just too slow. Go. Is that good enough? Is there any other animals that need, like, assistance with something? Mr. Clouded Leopard's hungry. Well, you would be if all you did with your life was go in and outside your concrete shelter. I knew those things were a bad influence on you. Right, you're going to Exhibit 1. So, there you go. No one else should be grumpy. Fine, okay. Can I continue with my story? Thank you. Anyway, Mr. Clouded Leopard got the perfect disguise and disguised himself as Clouded Leopard number 1. But, little did he know that the frog people mistook him for an actual leopard. And so, he was thrown into a cage. Not this cage, mind you, because this is a prison. So for the while, he stayed in that cage. And he pretended to be, like, Clouded Leopard number 1's mate. It was quite awkward, actually. I mean, they were both male, and, you know, none of them were homosexuals, which was, you know, good for Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1 because he didn't go that way. But, you know, it was tricky because Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1 couldn't, like, reveal himself. Else he would be eaten by the real Clouded Leopard number 1. He had to think of a way out of this. So what did he do? He disguised himself as another animal. He disguised himself as a Bengal tiger. I don't know how he did it because if you were in this exhibit, I really don't know how you make a Bengal tiger outfit. But, you know, Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1 is the master of disguise. No one knows his name. So, naturally, he could easily turn into a Bengal tiger. And the frog people had to get him out of the cage because, you know, Bengal tigers and Clouded Leopards, they don't massively get along. Isn't that right, Cotton Eye Joe? Isn't that goddamn right? But yeah, then Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1, who still had that name for some reason, was put in another cage on his own because there were no other Bengal tigers in the zoo. But unfortunately, it rained and the paint from, like, Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1's costume, like, faded away, and the frogs realised that the Bengal tiger was actually an electrician. But then the frogs realised, you know, we accept people for who they are. We accept, like, homosexual frogs and transsexual frogs. So, if Mr. Clouded Leopard number 1 wanted to be, you know, Clouded Leopard number 1, they should let him. However, considering this was fraud, he had to go to jail. So they took him to Arkham Asylum. The end. Oh, you know what? I'm not sure about that first story with, you know, Zebraman and stuff. But the Clouded Leopard story, I would love to see Leonardo DiCaprio, like, play that role and get an Oscar for it. Oh, so good! It's coming late October. I'm actually running out of stories. I could talk about, like, Grizzly, like Winnie the Pooh, or, like, Rudolph. I really want to think of more content than just telling you guys stories about, you know, the pasts of these infamous thieves and heroes. And we already know Mr. Clouded Leopard is misunderstood. And we already know Zebraman and Zebrawoman's encounter with Mrs. Bitch and Cotton Eye Joe. Alright, I guess we're doing this again. I have nothing else to do except sell trees or, like, talk about Illuminati frogs. So really, I think the best solution I have is talking about these animals. So we will conclude this with the story of Rudolph the Rhino and how Santa Claus discovered him. So we all know, like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? We all know Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but we also know Santa Claus had, like, a selection of reindeer who I do not remember the name of or the quantity of. But one day, you know, Rudolph, he got a bit old and had to retire. Unfortunately, like all the other, like, reindeer, they were a bit younger so they could stay on a few more years. But Rudolph being, like, the oldest of the bunch, that's probably completely false information, but let's just go with it. You know, he had to retire. So, Santa Claus had to, like, find a new reindeer. Unfortunately, it was the middle of summer, and you could not find a reindeer in the middle of the summer. Because, you know, it's like how Tooth Fairies come out at night. You wouldn't see, like, a reindeer in the middle of the Bahamas. So, Santa Claus had to think. What else could he hire? He had to hire an animal that began with the letter R. And so it came to him. He went to Africa and stole a rhino from its family. Now, I'm sorry. Now, you may think that for this rhino, it was like, you know, he got hired by Santa Claus. If you could work for Santa Claus, like, for your life and, like, give presents to everyone, then, yeah, you would be happy, but, oh my god, Mrs. Bitch, I'm trying to tell a story about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Rhino. And, you know, his creepy backstory of friggin' the murder of reindeer. Okay, you know what? Is there any animals I want a snack to this meal, this movie cinematic I'm doing? Oh, good. Okay, Clouded Leopard, you're hungry. Have you got food? Yes, you have. I'm not gonna bother with you then, you stupid animal. Right. Back to the origin story of Rudolph. Rudolph the Rhino was not happy because he missed his family. And, you know, rhinos don't really get along in the winter because they are not from the North Pole. So at first Rudolph, like, tried to talk to Santa. He was like, okay, can I see my family at some point? And you know what Santa realized? Santa realized he did wrong, but he could not find the rhino's family because rhinos became endangered. So eventually the apocalypse came and Rudolph was the last of his kind. But Santa didn't want Rudolph to know this. Santa had to give Rudolph the hope that his family was still out there. So he lied. But the more Santa lied, the more evil Rudolph came, until all of a sudden he went on a massive murdering spree. He murdered the other 11, I think there's 11 reindeer. He murdered the other 11 reindeer, and he killed, like, the 6 elves. No one minded if the 11 reindeers, like, got murdered, but the 6 elves, those were like, they were like prime ministers of the world. So, when Santa Claus found out the murders, he was sad with Rudolph, but at the same time he understood the murderous intent Rudolph had. Not because Santa Claus is a murderer, because obviously Santa Claus does that when he visits people's houses, he murders them before he gives presents. But he understood Rudolph was lonely and wanted to be with his own kind. So Santa did the only thing that he could and let Rudolph live with fellow murderers. And that is the tale of our red-blooded horn, Rudolph the Rhino. just look at him. He misses his own kind. And I cannot grant his wish of having more rhinos. Because this zoo forbids me. I can't do it. Oh, I feel sad for Rudolph now. He's all alone. I mean, he has some grass. But, like, what can Rudolph do with his life? He can talk to, like, Mr. Clouded Leopard, but, you know, Mr. Clouded Leopard isn't a murderer. At least, you know, Cotton Eye Joe and Mrs. Bitch, the true murderers in this park, like, they have each other. And, you know, Mr. like, Winnie the Pooh, he's decent, but he's not a murderer. Rudolph to this day is lonely and he needs some murderer's company. But he cannot have that. Because Rudolph is forever alone. When poor little Rudolph. And now he's going to hide in his murder hole. Hashtag respect for Rudolph. Even if he did commit mass murder. Only a month left. Okay. God, how have we still got a month left? I've been making, like, stories left and right. I've made more stories than, like, Steven Spielberg has directed movies. How much profit have we made so far? Like, for the month. Are we actually doing good? Oh, we made 4,000 last month. Nice. So this zoo's actually going to survive. That's good. Better than those tutorial zoos. You know, for the last month, see, I can't think of that many stories. I didn't want it all to be stories. I think I'm going to try and look into the other mechanics of this game. So, we already know the building stuff. That's simple enough. We can't look into the animals right now. Fancy family restroom. What is it with the, like, fancy stuff and normal stuff? Does that actually make a difference? Or is it just, like, slightly more expensive and doesn't actually serve any purpose? Well, I like my place to look good, but I'm really wondering if it's worth it. Arctic gift shop. Everyone will want to buy souvenirs from the Arctic gift shop. Well, not really. What if you're in, like, you're representing, like, a desert area and you put a random Arctic gift shop? That's not going to be really good. Restaurants. Restaurants don't sound like a bad idea, actually. I mean, like, if I went to a zoo, personally, I would prefer to go to, like, a place where I can sit down, you know, talk to my friends. You know, go on Instagram and, like, do a selfie. You know, I'm going to clear some forest away, destroy the environment so I can build my restaurant. I'm going to call it the Murder Hole. Oh. The zoo is scarier than Men in Black. Oh, decorations. Is that really going to benefit us at all, though? A campfire. A warrior statue. Yes, why not? A duck pond. Sure, I care about the environment. Is that even going to do anything? Guess we'll like to visit the ducks at the duck pond. Will they? I don't see many people there, but whatever. Messages. I doubt we got any interesting messages. Mrs. Bitch can't find any food. Why am I not surprised? Oh, okay, there's Rudolph as well. But why am I not surprised? She is like one of the animals that's complaining right now. Research. Scenario. Everything's fine. Wow, I am literally running out of stuff. But hey, it's Christmas Day. Yay, we did it! Okay, I'm just going to return to the scenario selection menu. But I think I'll stop it like here, though. Because, yeah, the music playing is nice, but this is nice, calm, relaxing, and you can see Rudolph there. This will be the last time you see Rudolph, so you might as well, like, take it in. Anyway, love this game. I think this is the only scenario which you can't buy animals in. And the only other circumstance where you can't buy animals is where, like, if you don't treat animals good enough. But we should be fine with that. I've still got to look into, like, how to make a good profit and stuff. Because don't get me wrong, 4,000 a month wasn't bad. But I think you can get higher than that if you use your restaurants right. But we'll look into that, like, probably, like, weeks from now. Because the next game we're going to play is Yu-Gi-Oh! I've got a few new things, but I'll let you know all about it in the next episode. So, look out for my book, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and until next time, see ya.